Hey guys, it is the end of March, which means it's time for a March reading wrap up. I've decided to do this month as a IGTV instead of a post, just to do something different. I'm hoping it's not too long a video and you guys will enjoy hearing about what I've read and what I thought about them. So yeah, I'm just going to jump straight in because I had a really good reading month. I did only DNF one book, and I have not finished some of my books. But overall, I'm really happy with what I have read this month. So first up, I read The Dragonfly Girl. I realise all the writing will be back to front in these videos. But I read The Dragonfly Girl. Now it is by Marty Leimbach. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. I was very kindly gifted this as part of a blog tour from Random Things Tours, who you can follow over on Twitter. I've been part of their blog tours for quite some time now, and I'm really enjoying some of the releases that I get to read advance copies of. I did receive this book in advance of its published date, but by the time I got round to my day on the blog tour, it had already been published. It was a really good book. I gave it 3 stars overall. To me, a 3-star is a good rating. I wouldn't say it's an average book. I'd say it's a book that I really enjoyed reading, but didn't love, and nothing spectacular jumped out that made me want to think about it anymore. You'll see what I mean when I compare it to some of my other reads this month. But it's a YA sci-fi fantasy kind of fiction. Kind of takes a look on whether or not someone can be brought back to life following death. So it's a really interesting scientific read, kind of up my alleyway, which was part of the reason I was happy to join on the blog tour. But yeah, 3-star read for me. So yeah, that was The Dragonfly Girl. Following that, I read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Now, as some of you might have seen from my feed, I am very behind in reviews. I have not yet posted my review for this one. I have not been posting reviews as the order I read the books. It's just whichever one I am ready to write the review for at the time. You can see from my tabs that I absolutely love this book. It's not my first Coho book, but I'm so glad I picked it up. It was an emotional rollercoaster, and I have to do a massive trigger warning alert. Please research the trigger warnings for this book before you jump into this. It tackles some serious issues. I appreciate that some people don't like her work, and that's fine. That's why books match some people, they don't match others. I personally loved it. I not necessarily took a lot away from it, but it did make me think about certain things. And it just, yeah. That's all I'm going to say on it at the moment. I gave it 4 stars overall. I would recommend it, but as I said, please research the trigger warnings before you pick it up. It's not a light-hearted read in any capacity. So yeah, that was that one. Following that, I did start Six of Crows, but since the lovely Charlotte, who I will tag, is hosting a Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom readathon in April in advance of the TV show being released, Shadow and Bone, at the end of April, I decided to put it on hold. And I will pick that up again probably tomorrow, maybe a wee bit later on. I'll get round to doing my April TBR soon. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing that book. The next one I read, actually I'm not doing this in any particular order, but the next one on my pile is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Now, I posted my review for this a couple of days ago. 5-star read, hands down, incredible book. I have had this on my shelf for a good 1.5 years now, and I regret leaving it on that shelf unread for so long. This was absolutely amazing. I loved every single page. I loved the main characters. I was devastated, as in ugly crying by the end of the book. But I totally understand why it was raved about. But I can also appreciate where some people say they don't like her writing. Again, being very diplomatic here. But yes, I would highly recommend picking this one up, especially if you like your Greek mythology. It's just a beautiful book that really makes you feel so many emotions. So yeah, that's The Song of Achilles, and that was a 5-star read for me. As I've said, I've had a really good month of reading. So next up on my list was These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling. I buddy read this with Amy, who I will also tag. I totally bought this because Shiv has raved about it. She couldn't put it down. She absolutely loved it, and I'm pretty sure she went out and bought the second book straight away. So I bought this one. Amy saw I'd bought it, and we decided to buddy read it. I devoured it. It was incredible. For those of you who follow Meg, you will be aware that she posted a review about this not that long ago. I read her review before reading this book, and it really made me go in with open eyes. I do not know very much. Actually, I don't know anything at all to do with pagan rituals or Wiccan magic or anything similar to that. So to me, I wasn't sure what was correctly represented or wasn't. But I appreciate that from Meg's perspective, the author potentially hasn't stuck to the specific aspect correctly. So please bear that in mind when you do go in to read it, if you are aware of these aspects. But this was, again, a 5-star read for me. Absolutely loved it and loved buddy reading it with Amy. So I also read this month The Love Square by Laura Jane Williams. I still haven't read her other book, Urstop. I'm halfway through it on my Kindle and I've just never picked it back up again, but I will do. It's part of one of my challenges I'm doing this year. This was a really easy, straightforward, cliche rom-com. A bit of escapism, personally. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Apologies. I mean, there's not much to say on it. 1 girl, 3 guys in a love square. I quite liked all the characters. They all had their flaws. But yeah. That's all I've got to say on the matter, I'm afraid. Following that, I also read the Rainbow Readers Book Club Read of the Month, which this month was Camp by Elsie Rossum. Their theme this month was Mask March. So this follows Randy as he returns to camp in America, which is specifically for the LGBTQI population. I went in with not really very much knowledge of American camps. Obviously this is completely fiction. What I did love about it, and I will do a review eventually, is that it totally makes you rethink stereotypes and how the world perceives individuals in a certain manner, and how actually we shouldn't. And we should be open to whoever someone wants to be, and that we just have to accept them as they are, whether we like it or not, because that's who they are. But yes, I absolutely love this. I gave Camp 4 stars. Love the characters. Kind of wish we had some different point of views. Could have done with a little bit more of some of the background characters, so to call them, not that they are background characters in any way. I love the diversity in this book particularly, and feel like I learned a lot from it actually. So I'm really glad I picked this up, and I can't wait to read the April pick, which will be talked in my next video. So yes, as well as that, I also picked up The Gilded Ones. I found this in Asda for £4, middle of a book ban, couldn't say no. It has the most gorgeous sprayed edges ever. And yeah, I am so glad I jumped straight into this one. I had seen Lucy raving about it, and a couple of the girls in the Chatterbooks group have read it as well, and they said they really enjoyed it, so I picked it up. I was completely drawn in to the fantasy world with the different setting for fantasy, the different magic involved. It was incredible. It was just something completely new to me. And I absolutely loved it. And I loved the plot. I loved the characters, loved where it went. And I cannot wait to read, I cannot wait to read the next one in this series. So I hope it comes out soon. As you can tell, I gave this one a very easy 5 stars. It was a brilliant, brilliant read for me. So along with all that, I also read another arc. I was kindly gifted this through NetGalley from the publishers Bloomsbury Publishing, and I wanted to read this after attending the Bloomsbury Night In event that they hosted last month, I think it was. I requested the book on NetGalley, not thinking I was going to get it on the basis of my feedback ratio is so low. But I was very lucky to receive an advance copy of Greenwich Park by Catherine Faulkner. This is being published on the 15th of April. I have put my review up for this. For someone who used to read thrillers all the time, I haven't really been reading them recently. And I picked this one up, as I said, following the Bloomsbury Night In. The author had talked about it and I was hooked just from her description of it. And so when I received that email through, I totally squealed like a little girl, and I was super excited to read it. It took me about a day and a half to read it. I absolutely devoured it. Yes, okay, it's maybe got some of its cliche thriller plots, as one would describe, but I didn't feel like I was reading a repeat of a thriller. I felt like I was reading something brand new. The characters were all very interesting. I loved the different points of view given across. Again though, please research the trigger warnings. It does deal with some difficult topics. So I would you can message me for them, or you can Google them and I can go from there. But I gave Greenwich Park a big solid 5 stars again. I couldn't fault it. To me, it was just a really perfect thriller. So yeah, that was really exciting to be able to get to read an advance copy of that. So thank you again to Bloomsbury Publishing and Catherine Faulkner and NetGalley for that one. I've read a lot this month. Following this, the only other book that I have not talked about that I finished has been my favourite read this month. I think it will definitely remain in my top 10 of 2021. It might even be in my top 5. If you haven't seen me rave about this already, it is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Get that right? Yes. I can't fault this. This was the easiest 5 stars I have given out. It has been all over Bookstagram, and the only reason I picked it up was because it had been over Bookstagram. I had absolutely no idea what it was about. I didn't read the blurb. I just knew it was about Linus Baker in an orphanage. And oh my goodness, I am so glad that I picked this up. This was incredible. Look at all the tabs from all my favourite quotes. This is a world that I would love to escape to. It's got magic, it's got uniqueness, individuality, diversity, representation. What I love most about this, beyond the lovable characters who I definitely need more of in my life, is that the moral of the story is that we should not be living in bubbles. We need to learn to accept individuals as they are. Similar to previous books that I've mentioned, such as Camp, I think it was. People are who they are, and no one should be telling them otherwise. And if you don't agree with that, that's your prerogative, but that person is that person. And if they want to identify a certain way, or if they want to be a certain way, you as an individual and a human being should be accepting of that. And this book just highlights the importance of that, and it also highlights how traumatizing it can be for people who aren't accepted the way that other people are. And I absolutely loved this book for that. And everyone should read it. Could also be on the school curriculum as a way of teaching children to accept everyone as they are. I mean, if you haven't read this, you really should. I would highly, highly recommend it to everyone. Absolutely everyone. So yeah, that was an extremely easy 5-star read for me. And I'm hoping we get to see more of the characters from this book. So apart from that, the other books that I have read this month are books that I have not finished yet. I have started The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I am halfway through. I devoured the first half in about a day. And then I don't know what it is about it, but I just kind of hit a wall almost, and I have sadly no desire to pick it up and finish it. Now that's not to say that the book isn't incredible. I think the writing style was really easy to read. I found the first half, or at least what I've read, very, very educational and emotional and quite difficult to read at points, and I think that was the point that Angie was trying to make when she wrote it. For me personally, I'm just not sure if I'm going to finish it or not. For me personally, I just don't want to finish it. I'm not DNFing it quite yet. I'm just putting it on the back burner. I'll leave my bookmark in. I will potentially pick it back up again. I'm just not sure when. I'd love to know your thoughts on this one for the people who have read it though. Should I continue with it or should I not? It'd be really good to hear from you guys. As well as this, I am also reading The Children's Act by Ian McEwan. This is a really short read. Again, I'm halfway through. I struggle with McEwan's writing. I couldn't read The Atonement. And so, yeah, I'm hoping to finish this at some point soon. And last but not least, thank you for sticking around, guys. I started Voyager by Diana Gabaldon beginning about 3 nights ago. It is 1,000 pages. I'm almost 400 pages in. I have read this previously before, but I don't really remember it. As you guys will know, I love Outlander, which is the first book. They've all been converted into TV series. I have caught up with the TV series, so I'm actually ahead in the TV series rather than the book, which is very unusual for me, but I think they've done the TV show really well. I'm going to do a post about these tomorrow because I ordered the next 3 in the series. But what I will say is these books need massive trigger warnings. Majority of the first few books, so I've read book 1, 2, and this is book 3. Majority of these are set in 1745 up to 1768, I think it is, in Scotland. Now, during those times, life was very different. Women were thought of as being less. Men treated women in a manner which would not be acceptable today and should never have been acceptable back then. And I hate to use the phrase, that was the times, but the author has written particularly graphic scenes, specifically in the first one, which is very difficult to read. It's very difficult to watch the TV series. And for those of you who have seen, Chloe and Loretta will be doing some videos, which I was kindly asked to come and speak in, and I speak about Outlander, and I failed to mention the trigger warnings, so I will be making it clear when they make the posts of that aspect. There are flaws with these books. If anyone wants any information about that, please do not hesitate to reach out to me before you tackle them. So yes, as you can see, I read a lot of books this month. Some haven't been finished. I had a fantastic reading month with my 5-star ratings. Sometimes I'm a bit generous, but the books I read this month really did deserve them. So I'm glad you guys stuck around to watch. I hope that you found this interesting. Please DM me or drop comments below about what you've read. So thanks guys, I hope you've all had a great reading month for March, and I look forward to seeing all of your wrap-ups as well. Bye!